Hi people, it's me Anja. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new recent release video. The first book on this list is called The Inheritance Games. This book is written by Jennifer Lynn Bones and it's a YA thriller and it follows Avery. And after she inherits millions of dollars, she has no idea why. Because the man that gave her these millions of dollars, she's not related to him. She has no idea who he is. She has no idea what's going on. But she suddenly has millions of dollars that she has to deal with, as well as the family as well. Because the man who died, who left her this money, he disinherited all of his family members and gave all of his money to her, a random person, instead. So that's fun. I really enjoy this book. Like I said, it's YA thriller. YA thriller isn't the genre that I typically gravitate toward because I'm the type of reader who tries to solve the mystery as it's happening. But with this story, I did not predict any of the plot twists at all. So the story was so thrilling and so good, and I just really enjoyed it because I was hooked by every single second. It was so good. I had very low expectations before going into the story because, like I said, YA thrillers don't typically surprise me or really shock me because typically I have predicted the plot twist before it's revealed to me, you know what I mean? But with this book, I was genuinely shocked. I am so excited for the sequel because I have no idea what will happen next. And yeah, I'm just so excited, and I rated this book 4 stars. So, yay. The next book on this list is another one that I gave 4 stars, and it's called Ink, Iron, and Glass. This book is a YA historical fantasy, and it follows Elsa, who's from a world that was written into creation. And when her home is attacked and her mother is kidnapped, she must venture into the real world to find her. I really enjoyed this book. Like I said, I gave it 4 stars. The action-packed, fast-paced plot kept me intrigued every step of the way. Elsa is such a resilient, smart, intelligent character. The romance in the story was fluffy. It was wonderful. The cliffhanger ending was done so well. The world building was like so wonderful and unique. It is difficult for me to find a fantasy that has world building that is unique, that is truly unlike anything that I've ever read before, because since fantasy is my most read genre, like even though there was so much potential with fantasy, since literally the author is just making it up, sometimes I feel like YA fantasy sounds all the same, you know what I mean? But this world building was truly unique, and this book is so underrated. I really enjoyed it. It was done so well. It is so eloquent, and this duality is so underrated. So please go read it because I highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called Mist, Metal, and Ash, which, you guessed it, is the sequel to Ink, Iron, and Glass. This story is so good. I ended up giving it 4 stars. This book is better than the last one, I would say, just by a little bit if I absolutely had to choose. But both books are so good. I rated both books 4 stars, but I really enjoyed how in this book, the author really stepped up her game. She expanded the world building, she developed new and old romances, she developed new and old characters, she added more like character perspectives. This story is so good. I absolutely really enjoyed it. This duology is so underrated, and for what? Because it's absolutely so good. I think that historical fantasies are like so underrated in the like YA like book tournament, if that makes any sense. So if you really enjoyed historical fiction or historical fantasy and you're just interested in like a nice solid duology with well-developed characters, well-developed romance, with great unique world building, I would highly recommend this duology because it's literally so good, if you didn't know. So the next book on this list is called Skyhunter, written by Marie Lu. This story is a YA dystopian fantasy, and it follows Talon, who's willing to sacrifice everything to save what she loves in a world broken by war. I really enjoyed this book, and I gave it 4 stars. Marie Lu is one of my favorite authors, and I knew that this story would be at least 4 stars because it's so good. Her writing is just so eloquent and well done because I love the way that she crafts this world and just hooks me in immediately. Like, these characters, this plot, this world building, all of the elements, all just so well done, and just, it was just so good, and I'm so excited to see what will happen next in the sequel. I don't know if this series will be a trilogy or a duology, but I'm just so excited to see what will happen next, because that cliffhanger ending was done so well, and I am so excited. So yeah, I gave this book 4 stars. I would highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called 10 Things I Can See From Here. This book is a YA contemporary, and I gave it 4 stars. And I will say that there's a trigger warning for sexual assault, although it's not graphic, but it's still there. You know what I mean? Anyway, this book follows Maeve, who suffers from severe anxiety, and it follows her as she tries to navigate through a lot of chaos. This story is so good. Like I said, I gave it 4 stars. Maeve is such a wonderful, realistic, resilient character. Her anxiety representation was so well done. I really enjoyed it. The sapphic romance as well was so well done. It was so cute. It was so fluffy. This story is so good. I ended up really enjoying it. Like I said, I gave it 4 stars. I feel like I've said that 3 times already, but that just means that this is a story that you should check out. I highly recommend it. It is so underrated, and for what? Because it is so good. So with that, I highly recommend it, which I know this review is like so redundant, but I'm sorry. Basically, this book is so good, and you should check it out. The next book on this list is called Instant Karma, written by Marissa Meyer. This follows Prudence, who suddenly is gifted with the ability to inflict instant karma on the people around her. So I suppose this book is kind of like a YA contemporary fantasy. So anyway, this story is so good. I feel like you should kind of expect what rating I gave it, because it's kind of like a general theme for this entire video. But I gave this book 4 stars. If you didn't guess, it is so good. This story is truly Marissa Meyer's best book. I had low expectations for this book, because if you didn't know, Marissa Meyer, I think that she has written like the majority of her other books, all other genres. I think that this story is her contemporary debut, and I love it when authors like dive into other genres, but I had low expectations because she has never written this genre before. But like I said, this story is truly her best book. It is so good. I mean, yes, truth be told, I've only read the Renegades trilogy, and then I read Cinder, and then I never completed the series, so I'm a little bit biased because I've read less books of hers than like the majority of like other readers. But basically, this story is so good. Prudence is such a wonderful character. The romance in the story was so fluffy. It was so good. It kind of reminded me of the romance from Today, Tonight, and Tomorrow. That book is also so good. So basically, Instant Karma is so good. If you didn't notice, I gave this book 4 stars. I know that this review is kind of chaotic, but welcome to my channel. This story is so good, and I would highly recommend it. So I hope that you too will also enjoy it. This next book unfortunately breaks my 4-star streak, but anyway, it is Love and Olives, written by Jenna Welch. This book is a YA contemporary, and it follows a girl who finds romance when she tries to reconnect with her absent father, whom she hasn't seen since she was 8, in Greece. This story is so good. I would say out of this trilogy, I wouldn't actually say that it's really a trilogy. Like, it's technically a series since all of these books are like companion novels, and I don't believe that like any of the characters previously make appearances in like any of the next books. But basically, if you didn't know, this author often writes romances that are set in European like countries. Like, the previous books are called Love and Gelato and Love and Luck. I think Love and Gelato is set in Italy and Love and Luck is set in Ireland. But anyway, this story was good. It was solid. I ended up giving it 3.5 stars because I enjoyed Liv's relationship with her dad. That was solid. I wish that the romance had been better developed, Out of all of the books in this series though, I will say that this book is her strongest. From what I remember, I had lower expectations for this one than I did for Love and Luck, because from Love and Gelato and Love and Luck, between those two, I preferred Love and Gelato, which was her first one. So yeah, this book was solid. It was good, and yeah, I gave it 3.5 stars. And like I said before, I apologize for this chaotic review, but I think that this review is probably less all over the place than I think it is. You know what I mean? So basically this book is 3.5 stars, and I would recommend it if you enjoy fluffy romantic YA contemporaries. The last book on this list is called We Are Wolves. This book is YA historical fiction, and it follows a young girl, and after the Russian army invades East Prussia after the war, she and her siblings must find a way to survive. This story was so well done. It is hard-hitting, it is moving, it is timely. I ended up giving this book 5 stars because I absolutely loved it. First of all, it tells a piece of history that is hidden, and I've never heard of this piece of history before, and I love it when I get to learn new things about like history, because history is just so interesting, and it's so fascinating, and there's so much of it, you know, and I feel like it's so fascinating to learn about it more from like the stuff that I learned from school, to really expand on it, if you know what I mean. Basically this story is so good, and it provided insight into something that I've never learned about before. But aside from that, it was also such a timely, moving story about this girl and her siblings, and I love it when moving, hard-hitting stories are told through this perspective of like young, innocent children, because you're sitting there and you really feel for these children because they are innocent and they're so young, and they shouldn't go through something like this, and they're so resilient and wonderful and like so lovely, and the story is so good, and that's why I gave it 5 stars, and that's why I would recommend it for fans of Anna and the Swallow Man and The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, because this book is so good. So with that, I gave it 5 stars. So in conclusion, by default, the lowest rating book on this list was Love and Olives, and the highest rating book on this list was We Are Wolves. But in between all of those other books, I rated 4 stars. So this video was a good overall solid recent reads video, because I would highly recommend all of the books on this list. So yay, there were no like unrecommendations, you know what I mean? So basically, if you enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below your opinions on any of these books. If you've read them, let me know what you think. Comment down below why you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!